everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dance Talk Realness, a podcast where we discuss all nuances concerning education and dance, because a dance experience is an experience worth talking about. I'm your host, Truly B, and I am joined again with my lovely guest, Mr. Darryl Pilate. Thanks for coming again.
Thank you.
So, today we'll be continuing with our Keep It Moving series, where I talk with different educators that are still actively participating either as performing artists, choreographers, a mixture of both. But before we jump into that, our quote for the day is from Herman Hesse. "Wisdom cannot be imparted. Wisdom that a wise man attempts to impart always sounds like foolishness to someone else. Knowledge can be communicated, but not wisdom. One can find it, live it, do wonders through it, but one cannot communicate and teach it." I like that one. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, get your own wisdom.
Yes.
All right, so let's hop right on into it. So, what are some of the roles that you find yourself currently balancing?
Oh, okay. So at this point, I'm balancing just being a full-time teacher, high school teacher. I am currently choreographing for the Congressional Chorus in DC. I'm also a dancer for the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, DC. And doing a couple little side projects here and there with LSDT, Light Switch Dance Theater. I have a show coming up on January
January 25th.
Yeah.
By the time we air this,
it will
have already happened. Y'all would have missed out if you weren't there.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about
Sorry for you.
Yeah. When I'm back, I'll let you know how that goes. Yes. But yeah, those are kind of some of the things I'm doing now. Awesome.
So, how do you balance doing these, I hesitate to say outside activities, because for us they are just like a part of life.
Yeah.
But how do you balance being a school teacher, because that involves a lot, and it takes a lot from you and requires a lot of you. How are you balancing that with still maintaining your activity as a performing artist and a choreographer?
Yeah. Well, one thing I try to do, just on the organization, or on the balancing and organization side, is to really just, I follow just a crazy planner, and I, write all that stuff down. And I, like for instance, we had a rehearsal yesterday for the Gay Men's Chorus. I find myself that I'm fortunate, and I find myself that I'm in a couple of the pieces for that. At the same time, on Saturday, I had a rehearsal for the Congressional Chorus where I'm doing the choreography. So a part of me is like, okay, how am I not stealing from this choreography that I'm being fed and I'm doing? Then I'm trying to do choreography for myself. I'm the choreographer for this group, and also choreographing and teaching and stuff for my classes. Sometimes I find myself where I'm like, okay, well, I kind of need to hold on to this choreography for Gay Men's Chorus, so we're gonna learn that in class. I'm gonna use that. We're gonna use some of these steps, we're gonna review this so that way I can hang on to it. Yes. And if I teach someone else, then I'm for sure, just reviewing and organizing it and just in my mind. Also, just trying to just plan out those days where I sit down and I'm like, okay, I know I need to kind of get a chunk of choreography done for this, for one thing, reviewing the choreography for this thing. I just planned out my spring concert for work. So that is going to be probably about, 2 for my company, 3, 4, that's going to be anywhere between 12 to 14 pieces that I will choreograph over the next
about right.
over the next 3 months for different classes. So it's one of those things where it's like I just have to have. I'm a calendar person. I'm a notebook person. I still write down all of my choreography. Even sometimes I don't. Even if I don't write it all down per se, like I at least have to get the counts down on paper.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes, depending on how prepared or unprepared I am, sometimes the choreography might be written. Sometimes it's just the counts and the choreography is here, and I just use the counts as like okay, I know where I'm at. So I know like which 4, which 3 that I need to do before I move on to like something else or there's a transition. So I mean, I'm really just trying to balance all of that through just writing it all down. Like I'm at a point now where I know my brain is at capacity.
Yeah. And
I need to kind of get that stuff out, because if not, then I'm gonna lose it and forget it. I have to watch a video. Like luckily, there's videos that I know we can watch to kind of like review and kind of hang on to some stuff. But yeah,
what I've discovered is similarly is writing it out works better than like I can put a date in my phone and I will immediately forget. But the process of actually handwriting it out, I'm like, if nothing else, I remember that I wrote something down. And I'm like, okay, something important is supposed to be happening. Like, let me check my planner. And so I know this year I'm trying to be like you, get back on my planner game, because I was not on it for a little bit. And I could definitely tell the difference of everything was hitting the fan. I was forgetting to do things. And there's too many pieces moving
to hold it all, because I'm usually really good. I'm really good at I can hold information in my head, but like when it starts becoming like a bunch of dates, a bunch of times, a bunch of different things, like you said, it's like the art of just writing it down. Like even if I don't have my planner in front of me, someone's like, "Hey, let's do something on Thursday the 18th," and I'm like, the 18th. That sounds familiar. Let me get back to you before I commit, because I was like, I feel like there's something that I need to do. Like I've heard
way too often. I was like, that date sounds like a thing. Like let me check. Let me run back.
And then luckily sometimes it's like, oh no, that's February 18th. Okay, okay, I got it. Yeah, I can do that. And then I go back and I'm like, okay, I have to double check that, and I can see like, okay, I wrote that down.
Yeah, I just had that happen recently. I was like, that day sounds real familiar. Let me check. And it was a completely different month. Right. But the number, I was like, oh, okay, we're good. We can do this.
Yeah.
And it's so much to keep track of, and I've never had it's not that I have a bad memory. It's just that at a certain point, I'm just I don't know what's happening anymore. Right. I need to see it laid out and where things are in relation to other things.
Matt from So he has this process, or they've done this process before, where they have like these paper calendars, right, and they hang them on the wall, and they have like sticky notes, and like this, because obviously sticky notes can be moved and they can be adjusted. So like there's like sticky notes for like each different thing, and I really, if I had space in my home, I would definitely do that. But like I love that whole like, how do you kind of like how to look at a calendar. Like, how do you really like plan it out? Here's a question: how do you, when you think of a calendar, interview you?
Yes. Okay.
When you think of a calendar in your mind, how does it look in your head? And that's a weird question. Do you want to answer this before? Because I have an answer. I just want to see if anybody else has like a way.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is I literally picture two things side by side. I picture like the full month, and then I picture like days broken down into increments and where it would fall. Yeah. And where I could place things in the increments. Wow. Which is, it sounds very stressful when I say it out loud. Like, that's a very complicated image. Like, I'm doing too much, but it helps me to kind of visualize. I'm like, okay, I know this month it should fall like this. Yeah. Should have X amount of weeks. But I also, like, my planner is set up like that.
Yeah.
Like I can't do the planners where it's just the day. It has to be broken into hours, and the hours are broken into 15-minute increments.
Oh,
I
wow.
have to account for every single minute, or it's still going to be a hot mess. Like I have to have a lot of detail.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
that's interesting to know. I'm curious because, like, in my head, well, for the calendar itself, like January through December, is interesting because I see it as almost in a clock form. In January, it's 3:00, and it goes backwards. Right?
Oh, that's
how
interesting.
I know, right? I don't know why I see it that way.
For some reason, in my spirit, I'm like, this could be a dance. I don't even know where we would go with that, but I'm like,
and so you go around, right? So that's your 12 months, right? But for as far as like an actual calendar, you know, just being in teacher mode, like I have to have a July through like my book now is I can't do a like 2000. I can't do a 2020 calendar from January to December. Like my book is basically June to June, which I guess is the same thing, but it's
different. It is,
but it's different.
It is different,
right?
It is. I agree.
Yeah, like and I'm almost getting to a point now where in a couple of months I will need to get another one because I'm already like, you know, I'm hearing about and getting some dates for next year.
Season,
so sometimes it's funny because I'm like I end up with like 2 books in my like backpack up until like, you know, obviously one ends, but I have to have a school calendar.
Yeah, I maybe 3 years ago made the switch to the January to December. Now that first year was rough.
Yeah,
because I was like, y'all, I don't know where I'm at. Like I can't. Yeah. And there is that time period where I have 2 planners operating at the same time.
Yeah.
But now I'm a little more used to it, and I know about partway like through the first semester, I need to be purchasing the one for the next year, and I'll be looking in 2 planners until January. Right. But I won't do that again until like late in the year.
Right. And see, that's the other thing too. They probably make those more readily available during that time of year, as opposed to like if I started to look for like one of those August to or July to June, I won't find those until like May.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because they're just that. I think those roll out with like their back to school stuff.
And I'm like, I need it now.
Yeah, I know. I'm at a point where I'm like
January 1.
Yeah,
I want me a fresh planner. And it's like something I've already started writing in because I already have stuff planned.
Yeah,
but I like this clock image. That's still with me.
Yeah. And I think it comes from like a book that I saw when I was younger, and like it was trying to show the seasons, and I think they were showing the seasons going from like a spring, summer, fall, winter, and so then that's how I just associate now the calendar with like the January through December.
That is really interesting.
It's weird how those images stick with you.
Yeah, like that's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I like that image.
Anyhow.
So planning is the main.
I think, is the main way to balance all of that. Like I have to be super, super, super thinking ahead, which sometimes for choreography for my classes, I hate that because it's like, you know, I want to use sound and music that's a little bit, you know, up to date and current and relevant, because they get into it when they feel like, oh my God, we're dancing to this song that, you know, is out now or hasn't quite been out yet. You know, waiting for like Rihanna to drop her album because, you know, I'm gonna have to use that at some point. But she's taking her time.
Like, come on, sis.
Yeah, she's taking her time on that. But I try to like plan out like the genre that I'm gonna do, the music that I'm gonna use, and I try to plan that out that way. And you know, it's like even for this piece that I'm showing on Saturday. You know, it took me a lot to try to like, because sometimes I'm like, do I have anything to say? You know what I mean? Like, do I have anything to say? Like, I can do choreography fine, but when I'm tasked with like having something behind it, it's like, okay, what am I doing? And then it also reminds me, like, how connected am I with the rest of the world that I don't have anything to say? Like, I don't know.
You preaching, me choir.
Like, how can I? Maybe I'm not that connected to even know. Like, so to tell you, since like, so the piece that I'm doing, how I kind of started that, right, was, so I'm also in a doctoral program, which I'm even going through some revelations and stuff with that. Yeah.
Why am I just hearing about this?
I know. So I know. But it's for business. It's for business because, you know, I have an MBA, and so it's like that's
but still,
I know. So I started. I know.
Let's just hold on. Pause. Let's just relish in this moment here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So you understand my struggle?
I know. Yes.
Like,
yes. No. But I'm taking a break. Okay, because it's a struggle. Because the struggle is real. The struggle is real. I found myself like, how am I doing all these things? And there was some time where I was just like, man, forget that assignment. I don't feel like doing it. Like, I just can't. And it was just, and it's
literally me.
Right.
It was like, we're not doing that one.
I'm not doing that one.
Okay.
I'm just sitting here with my calculator. So if I don't do this assignment, what do I need to make on these other assignments to still pass this class? Got it. Okay, we're good.
I was like, we can skip this one. Like, this one's fine.
Yeah. But so this piece that I was working on, or I've been working on, is kind of rooted in like a SWOT, right? So like in business, you know, you have the SWOT, which is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so like businesses use this as like this competitive analysis for within an industry, right? But then I thought it'd be cool to take it from like a personal thing, right? Like, what are your personal strengths, your personal weaknesses, but also your personal opportunities and your threats, right? But then it kind of like, I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, right? If I'm presenting work where like my dancer and I, we both did this SWOT, and we may create a movement that we felt were really reflective of like our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. But then it also made me think about this idea that a friend of mine told me, and I didn't know I know what it means now, but at the time I was like, I don't know what that refers to, the whole crabs in a bucket. Oh yeah. You know? Yeah. That mentality. And I was like, yeah, like I really want to look at that, especially in a city like DC where you know, people are so career driven and career oriented, and it's like, I wonder if there's this mentality, especially in politics and stuff, of, you know, just crabs in a bucket, where like if you're getting to the top, you know, if I'm not getting there too, bring it back. Bring you on back real quick.
I was like, if I can't be there, you can't either.
Right, exactly. And even just in my own field, right? Like in dance, right? Like, are we giving people like, if we have an opportunity, are we allowing, you know, are we reaching back to pull people up, or are we reaching forward to pull people down? So that's kind of where that's my thing.
I think that's a message.
I feel like that's a message.
I think it's a message.
Yeah, I think it counts. So we'll see.
Is it a duet?
It's a duet.
Are you performing it?
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like, every time I've done something with LSDT, I've always kind of been choreographer, and let me put the work on people. So this will be the first LSDT performance that I've actually been in. Oh, so yeah,
look at you.
It'll be fun.
Fancy.
Yeah. Are you dancing?
I am. I wasn't really trying to put it out there.
Yeah. Child. Yeah, I know, right?
Child. I was sitting here like, is this what I really want for my life? Like, am I sure? And similar that I always found myself kind of just like, okay, well, here, I'm going to set this on someone. I'm going to set this on someone. And I have one of my dancers who I usually call for things. I've known her for quite a few years. I taught her. And so I would say she comes pretty close to being able to perform my movement and my ideas the way I see it. She might be the only one out of who I usually call. And everyone else, they're all beautiful dancers. Like, that's not a slight.
Yeah.
But I've known her for so long, and it's funny because she kind of reminds me of how some things I used to do when I was younger. And I was like, listen, let me tell you how that's gonna pan out for you. Like, just go ahead, skip that problem. I already lived it for you. Got it.
Yeah.
So she has, I would say, a not say better connection, a closer connection to how I process and think, because she's similar in a way.
Right.
And so it's a duet with her. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had the same issue of I was trying to like, okay, do I have something to say?
Yeah.
I don't know. And so mine's a little bit more broad, I think, than what I usually do. Mostly because I was like, okay, but I actually need to be saying something. But kind of like the idea of the juxtaposition of confirming who you are while also conforming to what it is society is telling you should be. And so, what is the name of that piece? Child, like, let me tell you, I wrote it down and I was like, I don't know if I still don't like the title, to be honest. Like, I don't like it, but that's what I put on all the promotional stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so that's what it's called now. I think it's Outside In. I don't care for it, but it's fine. I like the idea. But this is one of the few times that a title did not like just like jump at me. And I was like, yes. And I was like, it's a little cliche. I don't like it, but it is what it is. It's on the paperwork now. But just kind of looking at that balancing point. And so we're essentially in dialogue. Literally and figuratively, which is going to be I haven't done talking in a piece in a while. So this is going to be interesting.
I'm performing with Matthew, and so he's used to doing dialogue, and so this is the first time where we're just going to dance. We're just going to dance it out.
I haven't seen him in a while.
So we all get to hang out. I know it's going to be a nice little group. And it's interesting. Like, sometimes I'm just never. It's like if you've ever, like, whenever I cook something, like, I've cooked like some meals for people before, and it's like when you're done cooking, you're like, well, I'm not even hungry. Like, I don't want to eat it anymore. And it's one of those things where it's like you work on this process of dancing, and I'm just like, am I even gonna like it? Like, am I happy with it? Like, I'm more happy when I'm not having to be in it than it's like
Part of it, I think, is that when you're not in it, you're able to step back some, at least, because it's still yours,
right?
But when you're in the thing, it's harder to like step out and like really be able to look and see. Okay, well, let me tweak this, let me move this, because you're
in it,
in the thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair observation. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see what happens Saturday.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens.
We're gonna say a prayer. Pray for the best.
Yes.
So, why do you find it important to stay active as a performer and choreographer?
I think just as a dance teacher, I think it's important for me to be. I think it just keeps me active, just because I know I get so bogged down with just teaching that I don't feel like I get to feed my own like performing choreography. Like, I'm doing choreography obviously in classes, but sometimes it's watered down or it's not as like what I would want, because I'm obviously working with a certain caliber of students. Which is the good thing. The fun thing about that though is is that as my program grows and as my students get better and better and better, I'm able to do a little bit more, kind of feed that choreography soul, because it's like, oh my God, they're able to now do the things and get the things that I want them to do. But I think it just kind of keeps me, I'm able to just take some of the things that I do with performing back to my students and kind of really refine the way I teach them how to perform. Because I think there's certain people who, like, when they don't do that, I just kind of often wonder, like, what maybe they're, I think even going back to like something we talked about before, like when people say, oh, you really do dance with them. It's like, I think the fact that they know that I still dance, it's like, oh, okay. I think that is just another way of just confirming like what I do and like justifying what I do. Like, yes, I'm a dancer. I teach dance because I am a dancer, not that I teach dance because I'm a teacher. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so kind of going back to what I was saying, it's like, sometimes you get stuck in that, like, you become the dance teacher. And I think just some of your either choreography and ideas just get stagnant when you're not actually out there performing still. So I think that's why I think it's just important to still stay out there and move.
And you started touching on that idea of, I call it a sense of like self-fulfillment, that it's almost like you're like keeping yourself alive. Yeah. Because if you're dying, how are you going to be able to impart anything when you're teaching? Yeah. And just staying out in the field and like knowing like what's being done. Like I think it's I was having a conversation with someone. I'm trying to make sure I retell it the right way, but it was something along the lines of like things that are being asked of in auditions nowadays, and like kind of like what I feel like we're doing in some of the classes, and it's like some of it's a little off, like being asked, like asking our students to well, I mean, like right now in our county, we have a very strict, like it's leotards and tights. Sometimes auditions are not asking you to wear that. You know what I mean? Auditions, like sometimes it's a little bit more relaxed. And definitely, I think a lot of things are more, like a lot of the things that I'm doing now are not rooted in being really technical, honestly. Like sometimes it's just being able to really perform. And I think that that's something like, very transparent. Like a lot of my students, some of them are learning to be technically sound dancers, and others they've started too late, and so they're getting there, but they're probably not going to get to that point where they are like super technical dancers. So the thing that's going to be like their saving grace is to be performers. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be they may not get to this top dance school. Can they get into a dance school? Of course they can. But will they be at Fordham's, or are they going to be at Towson's? Probably not. But they could go to a nice dance college, get a degree, or they could even look for ways to perform in other things locally, and I think they do fine. So I think it's being out there and still performing, I think just helps me bring some of those other alternatives back to my students as well. So what are some issues you've run across juggling all of these things, and have you been able to resolve them all, or are some of them still works in progress?
Works in progress, yeah. Like my piece that I'm about to show is about to be a nice work in progress.
It's 100% mine's a work in progress. 100%.
Yeah.
We're not calling this a completed anything.
This is not a completed.
It's not.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. This is just really We're just going to show some movement.
On it. We're working on it.
Yeah,
this is where we are so far.
Yes. So that'll be interesting.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
No.
Like, work in progress.
Yes. But I don't know. I feel like so far they've been okay. I think going back to just like, how am I doing it? Just really keeping up with that schedule. And like, for instance, we rehearse for the congressional chorus where I'm choreographing. We have rehearsal every Saturday from 12:30 to 4:30. Well, we have tech next week from, I think I have it at 2:30. So, I'm just really having to just kind of switch around some things. They know that I'm only going to be there till 12:30. I've talked to, LSTT. They know that I'm going to kind of shift around some of my tech time and everything. I think, that's like one of the ways I think I'm just trying to keep everything kind of in balance and in flow. And a part of me is like, I can't get sick, because that would totally throw things off.
We don't have time for that.
Right. There can't be any snow days. I don't have time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do the Gay Men's Chorus show is on the 13th. My show for this is on the 20th and 21st. So they're literally a weekend apart from each other. I just started on Saturday with choreography that gives us about 9 or 8 Saturdays to complete about 6 to 7 pieces. Yeah. And Saturday not everybody was there.
Ooh. So that's always good when everyone shows up, though.
Right. So it's one of those things too, where like after we finished our rehearsal on Saturday, I had to tell the people that were there. I was like, please send this out to the rest of the people who could not make it, and also let them know that on Saturday when we meet again, we're moving forward.
Yeah,
I'm not touching any of the stuff that we did before. I'm just gonna start adding on and keep it going. Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Yeah. Yep. Because we really just don't have the time to go back and do anything, and that's where I can sympathize with my choreographers for the Gay Men's Chorus, because once again we've had 2 rehearsals so far this year. We had a total of 10 to learn about the same number of pieces. So, I mean, we kind of got through a whole piece yesterday in rehearsal. We finished one last week in rehearsal. And their big thing is like, if you cannot make it, you need to go through these on your own, because we just don't have a whole lot of time to keep going back through things. And then next Sunday we will learn something new again. So, it's a lot.
Yes, it is.
It can become a lot, but I think it's all goes back to that organization for sure.
Yeah. So, before we move on, I do want to confirm. Okay, so for everyone should have at this point have listened to the first episode I did with Darryl. That was episode 4, and we ended up getting confirmation that our my friend, still his supervisor / friend, Tamisha, 100%, yes, Hawaiian and Tahitian dance.
Yes.
So I feel cheated that
I was like, she did.
I taught in that county for 10 years. Okay, she wasn't there the whole 10, but for all the ones she was there was never a professional development where she was teaching it to us, and I feel gypped. So at some point, I'm going to have to find a way to convince her to do some type of a PD workshop, something where I can just drop in and take this class, because I'm deeply offended now. I am going to tell her, like, she's going to have to come on. That might be a whole podcast episode. It's just her teaching a real quick class, a quick session, gather a few other people. And if you can't see the video, I'm so sorry. But I feel cheated. I'm going to need her to run it back and make sure I am no longer feeling a type of way. So I just wanted to make sure, because we did say that we would follow back up and confirm that. And so, yes, confirmation has happened. All right, so I will say that idea of a lot of it just keeps circling back to trying to stay organized and making sure that you're planning. And something else that I heard you slip in there is communication, and even your openness, just being sure that you're really talking to the people that, not only the dancers you're working with, but also the entities you're working with. So how you like make sure to communicate with LSDT that, okay, well, this is what I have going on, but I can make this work. Because similarly, I was like, okay, well, one dancer, like, she's not gonna be able to come before this time. And I think quite often people, because I used to be one of these people, that it's like that fear of, okay, but if I tell you that there's a conflict, then you're just going to say, forget it. And I'm going to lose this whole opportunity, and I don't want that.
That's so real. That is so real,
And so, it's very freeing in a way to just be like, okay, so look, here's what it is. But, and I think what helps is when you come to the table with a solution already there, that you're like, okay, we can't do 12, but she can make it by 3:30. So is it possible that we can be towards the end? So that way she can be there and we can make it, and we're still fitting within the allotted time that you've given. And, you know, they responded like immediately, positively. And it's been a process. I'm still working through it in many instances, but it was such a good feeling to know that being willing to be that open and communicative, that they also were that way.
Receptive of
and
that.
So trying to, I guess, bring that into other work relationships, that, okay, I can't be mad if you don't work with me if I never told you. Now, if I tell you and you don't want to work, now this is a different conversation that we need to work out. But if I never, like, if I don't have a plan and I never voice things to you so I can make the plan, then I can't be but so mad because I didn't hold up my end of doing it.
And I found that too. I used to be a person that would also, like, you told me something, I want to do it, so I'm going to say that, and then if the conflict arises, I'm just not going to tell you. So I may not just show up at the time that you said, or I might just like, oh, and then you like, Darryl, where are you? And I'm like, not responding. I was that person, and it wasn't, and you know, the sad thing is,
raggedy.
I know, raggedy, and it wasn't that like I was mad at that person. It's not like, it's like I felt so bad, that this person, like, it's not like I didn't show up. I did, but it was just like I knew I had this conflict, and it was like I didn't want that person to feel like, well, if you knew that you had this, why would you make that other plan? It's like, well, because I wanted to do both of these things, and it's like I wanted to make both people happy. You know, and sometimes I would do that at the sacrifice of giving my own self anxiety, which I went to therapy for this.
Still in it.
Okay.
Still in it. It is a thing.
Of just really just feeling like I didn't want to disappoint people, and like learning that I don't want to deal with that anxiety anymore. Like that's something where I think a lot of people slowly learn that, like, I would quick to tell people, like, no. And, like, sometimes saying no is still hard for me. So, like, I'm always like, maybe. Let me let you know. And so I think people, like, really close friends have learned that maybe is like okay, like, that's you potentially saying no, but maybe you will end up coming. Like, sometimes my maybes are like, I'm going to keep that on the list. and I'm gonna see what else is going on throughout that day.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna come by like a friend. So a friend of mine had people meet up at a bar for his birthday, and I didn't confirm that I was gonna be there because I knew that I had work, and that's the thing. I'm usually always the yes person. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Yep, I'm gonna do it. Yep, I'm gonna do that. And then it's like, oh no, I can't make it. Something else happened. Something else came up. So I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna confirm. I'm just gonna be like, okay, that's an option. And I ended up being able to make it. But I just, I think I also have hung out with people who are so like, you need to be there. And if you're not there, that says something about our friendship or our relationship. And it's like, well, no, it's like, I'm a person with things that are going on too. And if I can't make it, it's not a slight towards you. It's just, I just can't make it. I just can't do it. But I'm also a people pleaser, so of course I'm gonna figure out a way to make that happen. So that way I'm at your thing. But but I think in situations like this, I think trying to be more professional about stuff. I think those are instances where it's like, no, if I cannot do it, I need to definitely like. Before I accepted the congressional choreography position, I was like, the old Darryl would have been like, yep, I can do it. I can commit, but I was like, no, I have some questions. What are the dates? What are the times? What are the expectations? How many pieces are you wanting to, you know what I mean? Like, I think it definitely took me to like no, I need to make sure that this is something I can fit within everything that I'm doing. And before I even sat and put the dates in my calendar, like I wrote them down and I was like, combing through my calendar. Okay, what am I doing that day? What am I doing before and after? Okay, what am I doing? So that way I knew exactly what I was committing to. So, I think that was a big change for me, actually, is to really sit down and do that. And I'm also a person that, like, the more things I have going on, the happier I am. Because I feel like my life is, like, I know what I need to do and my life is organized. When I don't have that many things to do, I'm like, I'm wasting my time. And I'm good at wasting time. Yes. I am so good at wasting. I can waste some damn time.
I can go down the YouTube rabbit hole all day.
Oh, I can waste some time.
I can sleep all day if you let me.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. You know what? I think you have voiced exactly what it is. Yeah. Because I will complain left and right when it's a lot to do, but I'm not happy when I'm not busy.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, I need to be doing something. Like, I'm wasting time. Like, I will rest. And it can be like, but you've been asleep for 2 days. I'm like, I can go for another nap. Yeah. I can do this. Like, it's really okay. Yeah. So, no, I think you just put that perfectly for me. That I'm like, there is some sense of happiness in me being busy. Yeah,
when my calendar is full and I can see it all, like, this is what I'm doing and I have these obligations. Yeah, I'm like, cool. I have purpose. I have a purpose to my day and there's a purpose to my week. But when it's empty, I'm just like, what am I going to do with myself?
So, I have space.
I have space.
I'm going to go to bed. Yeah. I'm going to just sleep until the next busy wave comes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So no, that I feel that in my soul. Like, that is a real thing. All right, so it is now time for our ultimate dance trio. So you get a new question.
Okay.
Haha.
Yeah.
All right, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
If you could see 3 of your favorite performances from any era, so it could be something you've seen video of, you've just heard of, read about. If you could see them in their original context, which 3 would you choose?
Oh my gosh, I would love to see Alvin Ailey Revelations live.
You better say a word.
Yes.
That's on my list.
Yes.
That's on my list.
Goodness. Just as like a Hawkins Graham baby, and I love the work. Appalachian Spring, Martha Graham. I would love to see, but I would love to see it with her and like Eric like dancing it. I don't know if they ever did it together. I'm sure they had to have. But yeah, I would love to see that. I'm doing very very modern. I guess if there's something current that I want to see.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Live your life.
Yeah. I would love to see, gosh, just any original Broadway casts do like anything.
Like just any of it.
Anything that's won like a Tony for like best new like musical. I would love to see the live like original cast do it on Broadway. That would be fun.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That could be nice.
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing.
Yeah.
So, I'm 100% with you on the Ailey. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
You know what?
I often wonder too. Like, was it as powerful because in that moment because it was powerful, or is it powerful because over the years we've made it?
And that's why I would
powerful.
love to see it in its original context
Yeah.
to see if it's because there's so much history behind it.
Right.
Was that the case?
Yeah.
I would be down to find out.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Someone needs to make this time travel thing happen. Okay, but I need to be able to see it without any of the struggles that were going on.
Right.
I just need y'all to let me go see it.
Right. Just
Because let us not act like that any of the past things was really benefiting any of us. Let's not pretend that.
Yeah, no.
But just to be able to see when it was happening, if that impact has always been there like that.
Because I think because then
like I can't imagine it not.
Right.
Like I can't see it not being like that, but there has to be something said for the passage of time.
Right.
And it becoming
just iconic. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. We gotta figure out how to make it happen. I don't know. That sounds like some type of science math.
Right, that is some science.
That's not my testimony. I don't know how to make that happen. All right then.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for coming back.
Yeah,
I'm gonna always kidnap you whenever you allow me.
Of course, anytime.
Do you have any platforms? Because I didn't ask you this last time. Do you have any platforms that you would want the people to follow? Kind of keep tabs on you.
Yeah.
You might get some new stalkers. I don't know. I'm
that's
trying to
fine.
help.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm on the gram. The gram at DPTX State. That again is DPTX State. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a school. So you can follow me and my dancers at HPHS Dance on Instagram and on Twitter.
Right,
HPHS
awesome.
Dance. Yeah.
Like yes, Twitter. I keep trying.
Yeah,
I haven't worked it out yet.
it's an interesting platform. Like I've tried it like 2 or 3 times personally and just never got into it. But the fact that like it seems like at PG everybody tweets, so I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna. It's just a nice little way of getting some advertisement out. So that's what I use. Which
makes sense, but I'm just like, maybe one day.
Yeah.
When I get me an assistant who knows what they're doing, I'll have them work it out for me.
Yeah, I'll figure that out.
All right, so thanks again for joining us here at Dance Talk Realness. Please be sure to follow us on all social media, not including Twitter though, because
we ain't figured that out.
Sorry. Haven't quite worked it out yet. But at Dance Talk Realness on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all the things. Just make sure you're following. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so I can continue bringing you fresh new content. Be sure to engage with the questions because I want you to be a part of the conversation. Looking forward to talking with you later. See you next week. Bye.